Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Faith.
And we are Mommy Drinks Politics.
Where we drink
and talk politics. So, I just found out that I am sitting next to a celebrity. I had no clue, but Faith just told me that she's in a movie.
Me and a lot of my friends are in a movie.
Well, tell everybody about it. What's it called?
So it's called Throw $1 Billion from a Helicopter.
Okay.
And I know it's a really long title, but it's a documentary about our fight against the new Ranger Stadium.
Okay.
The taxpayer-funded Ranger Stadium. It was at the St. Louis Film Festival, and we got to go see it for the first time.
That's
and,
awesome.
We're hoping that, you know, it goes elsewhere and I can get all my friends to come see it, and it'll be really cool.
Cool. I want you guys to go check out Throw $1 Billion from a Helicopter. Google it, watch it. Faith's in it. I'm sure it's amazing. Yeah, and then after you watch it, comment, let us know what you thought. Okay, so what else is going on in the world?
So the only other thing I've really been following is this whole Hong Kong protest. Have you heard much about that or seen much?
So I followed it in the beginning, and then because I thought it was going to be just one of those like, oh, it's a 5-day protest or even like a 1-day protest, and then it just kept going on. Because I actually wanted to go to Hong Kong in the spring. And so I was like paying attention, just thinking, oh, it'll be good to know what's going on when I go to Hong Kong in the spring. Not going to Hong Kong in the spring.
I didn't realize it had been going on over 168 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know it had been that long.
It's been that long.
Wow.
And with each protest and people coming out in the streets, anywhere from 1 million, 2 million people.
Like almost the entire population of Hong Kong.
That blows my mind.
I don't think Americans could agree to participate in anything to that level.
No.
Where it's like every single American came out to protest.
Right.
I think maybe if we tried to take guns away, a good number of people would protest. But I think that's it. Like, that's the only issue, I think.
I think you may be right about that. So, and these people are unarmed. They don't have guns.
Yeah.
And they're up against this Hong Kong police force that originally had a very good reputation of being non-violent. And the Chinese military, the Chinese people are being imprisoned. Their organs are being harvested. They're being suicided.
Back up.
Yep.
Organs harvested.
Organs harvested.
Tell me about that.
They've been doing it for a long time. But they do that to their prisoners.
Gotcha.
And they have lots of political prisoners.
Wow.
So China is now, I would say, infiltrating the Hong Kong police. They're coming in as volunteers. They're not volunteers. They're being voluntold to come in. And the deaths that have been on the rise since the protest started, it's escalated, you know. And the thing this last week was the Polytechnic University massacre.
Oh, well, no, when I saw it, it wasn't a massacre yet. I just saw that there were people holed up at the university, but I hadn't seen anything since then. What happened?
So they were trying to hold off the police force. The police force, they were trying to run people down with their vehicles, and the protesters were throwing Molotov cocktails to get them back. They had a few escape attempts, people trying to get out, people coming down rope ladders and then being whisked away by motorcycles on the freeway below. I mean, it's like dramatic stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they have no food, they have very little food.
Yeah.
Sanitation conditions are getting really bad, and basically the people inside are like, if we surrender and we come out,
we're dying. I mean, I imagine that's...
Yeah. At the very least, they're going to jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
They might get suicided. They might have their organs harvested. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen to them, but they fear for their lives if they surrender. And so, and to me, it seems like everything I see about, you know, the people of Hong Kong and all this stuff that they're writing, it's like liberty or death. Like, they're ready to sacrifice their lives, even being unarmed the way that they are. It's super inspiring. Have you heard them singing?
I haven't heard them sing.
I should send you that video. They're singing like hymns.
Wow.
Like 1 million people with their,
Wow.
cell phone flashlights
That's
on.
crazy.
And it's a movement.
Mm,
And
clearly.
they're not going to be done. So there's the United States, I want to say Senate, passed some sort of resolution or something in support of the Hong Kong protesters.
I saw that. I did see that. And I thought it was tone deaf. Like, yeah, when I saw it, I was like,
Really?
really? I thought it was tone deaf.
Why?
So, when America plays this little goody-goody act, like, oh, we're supporting democracy, like, all over the planet, and we hate oppression of any, type, and then they oppress their own people. When we still have kids in cages, when we still have, there was a school shooting just recently, when we still have government officials killing, murdering American citizens because of their race, creed, color. To me, it's just like I support I support the protesters in Hong Kong. When it first started, I thought, of course, this is happening. Like, it's inevitable. I mean, Hong Kong was a free. I mean, they were a democratic.
They were the freest in the world.
Exactly. Yes, and when they, I don't know the word that they used, but pretty much they went back to Chinese rule. And China, of course, is one of the most oppressive regimes on the planet. You're going to take these people who've enjoyed an amazing amount of freedom and try to incorporate them into an oppressive regime, and who thought that would work? I mean, I understand the politics of it, like why it had to happen, but who thought it would work? So it seemed like this had to happen, and so I support those people. I support the protesters. I support what they stand for, liberty or death. Like, all of us have ancestors who were screaming that exact same thing. That's why we're here. But for me, when our government, which we all know, I mean, like you just said, when we were talking about what Trump did, you were like, they all do that. When we point the finger at another country and don't realize we have 4 fingers pointing back at us, it's like, come on. It's like we're oppressing people here. Okay. Our government oppresses people here.
Okay.
So
I can agree with that. On the other side, though, I think it was important for the Senate to do that, because there are people all over the world who are looking at these protesters like, why don't they just comply?
Really?
Yeah. They're like, certain media outlets they're not being cast in a positive light. They're being cast as the troublemakers.
Gotcha. See, and I watch liberal media, and in liberal media, it's liberal. So I haven't seen any media outlets casting them in a negative light.
They're probably from other countries, and I would imagine there's some Chinese influence in there.
Yeah.
But I've been following this one group page of people who are like on the ground or like connected to what's happening there, and they're like, protesters are getting a bad reputation in media because of the way that their language barrier and how they're portraying this fight. It's just, why don't you just come out? Why don't you just stay home? Don't fight us anymore. So, but they I don't know how so many people willing to come out into the streets, willing to pay the ultimate price for liberty, whether they have guns or not. I don't see how they don't end up winning.
So we talk about guns on this channel all the time. How do you think the Hong Kong protest would be different if the protesters had guns?
Oh my gosh, I think they would have already won.
You think so?
I do.
Even though China has literally over 1 billion people to go and crush that tiny little...
So I don't know, first, because it's the whole concept of like people versus government.
Mhm.
Government only functions as long as the people allow it to.
This is true.
So what happens if the Chinese people who
Mhm.
were being oppressed
Mhm.
are told to, go march on Hong Kong, and
Yeah.
they're like, nah. What if they had guns to defend themselves from the oppressive government that's telling them to go do those things? And so for me, when we've talked about guns, it's not about hunting, it's not about, just personal safety. This is literally what it's for.
Yeah.
It is to shoot back at the government who's shooting at you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I see. For me, I think they'd be dead already. I think if they had guns, they'd be dead. I think it would be an all-out war, and I think they would have been neutralized by now. And I mean, who knows? No one knows the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, China has a history of stamping out protests violently.
Yep.
And so I think that had they had guns, then it would have been over. Like, what would have happened if Martin Luther King would have had guns? It's like,
Martin Luther King chose a different route for a different reason.
yeah, he did. But I guess totally true. But my whole point is that, and I'm not debating gun control right now, even though I get it seems like I am, and I'm not. So I'm just gonna say this and I'll move on. Yeah, I think that guns change the narrative, where it's like these people are peacefully protesting for their liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're protesting, or once you are attempting to win your liberty with firearms, you are no longer a peaceful protester. You become a rebel. And so that's the only thing that I was saying. So, not arguing gun control. But what else do you know about the Hong Kong situation?
I mean, that's mostly it. I didn't see anything in the news about whether or not the remaining protesters that were still there as of a couple days ago, if they ever made it out, or if they all were arrested, or if the police rushed the place, or, because there were parents standing outside begging for, peace.
I think as a parent, that's the worst thing imaginable, for you not, because it happened to me before.
Mm-hmm.
Where there had been an active shooter call in my son's school when he was 8, and the cops were everywhere. I mean, there were shooters on the roof, and me and my husband and every other parent was sitting outside just waiting, like, helplessly to find out, if my son was okay. And yeah, so I definitely feel for those parents, because I know what that's like to, like, be literally, like, waiting outside of a school, like, just hoping that your child is okay.
And there were middle school and high school students in there as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when there was another wave that came out, I think there were 600, and of those 600, 200 were the middle high school.
Gotcha.
So they were questioned and released, according to that report. But the rest were arrested. So
I wonder if this will all end with Hong Kong becoming its own city-state.
man, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really amazing.
I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, I'm rooting for them too. Don't have a lot of faith, but I think it'd be really awesome.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Well, cool. So let us know what you guys think about Hong Kong, if you've been following the protests. If you think the protests would be worse if the people of Hong Kong had guns. Just let us know what you think in the comment section, and we'll see you next week.